a lot of things you could have done besides come here tonight to hear what we're about. We do appreciate you taking the time to come up here and really take a look at what we call a crusade in our business, in our world, in our community. We really feel like we make a great difference in what we do. Evaluate that for yourself as we go through what Freedom Equity Group is about tonight. We appreciate the enthusiasm, the leadership that Deborah brings to what we're doing. It makes all the difference in the world when we have people that catch the dream, the vision of what we're about, and are willing again to share the enthusiasm of what we can do in people's lives. So I want to start, we've got a video, I think, that sets the pace. And I like to start with every time that we do a meeting such as this. This kind of tells the story right up front. So we're going to start real quick with a very short video, and I'm going to follow up from that. This is called Jessica's Story. So as you watch this, it's going to give you, I believe, a real good overview of why FEG exists and what it is that we're all about. Roy, you got it set up, ready to go? Yeah. Okay.
The more you open your eyes to love and let it flow in your life, the
that a pretty good place to start?
Yeah.
Is that a big deal?
Yep.
Okay?
Especially if it happens to you.
Excuse me?
Especially if it happens to you.
That's going to be my next statement. It only makes a difference if you need it. Okay? That's the only time it matters, if you need it. And see, we talk about how many people situations like that affect in our country, happening every day. As we get started, I want you to think about it mentally. I want you to think about it as we're moving through presentation that we're going to go through. How many people have you heard of in your sphere of influence that had heart attack, stroke, cancer, Lou Gehrig's disease, renal failure, loss of sight, a limb, anything like that? Do you know anybody in your lifetime that has experienced something like that? And I venture to say every one of us in here do. It's probably 3 months ago now, I guess, but one of my best friends that I had growing up as a kid here in Houston, Texas, at the south part of town, Alameda. If any of y'all know where that's at, that's where I'm from, okay? Alameda, Texas. One of the guys that I grew up with from the time I was about 5 or 6 years old, he had 4 brothers and a sister, 5 brothers and a sister. And he and I were the same age, same class in school, all that kind of deal. He and his second youngest brother had a heart attack in the same week. Both of them had a heart attack the same week. Pretty odd deal, but I say that because, again, it happens all around us. My brother, last year, 16 months younger than I am, had 2 heart attacks and 2 strokes last year. Did not have living benefits life insurance, was 18 months with no income. 18 months. After 18 months of almost, again, ending up under the bridge, were it not for our family and some friends through our church and different ones that knew our family, knew him, that gave and helped and supported until he got to the point where he was able to generate some more income. Literally, he was in ICU, come out of heart surgery, bypassed all that stuff. His wife comes up to the hospitals. We're there. Of course, she's crying. She's upset. And I'm thinking, it's, obviously because of what they're going through. And it was a rough ride from about January till the end of July. This time last year, he was in the midst of all of this last year. Just had open heart surgery. She shows up to the hospital with an eviction notice. Does this stuff happen? You bet it does. Does it always happen directly to us? Not necessarily. Thankfully, in my case, I personally haven't experienced that, but it was just as real to me because it was someone in my family that I cared about. And it was my responsibility as a brother to step up and try and fill in the gap. Gang, this kind of stuff happens every dadgum day. And as a matter of fact, from the standpoint as far as life insurance policies, and I use the term all the time, we're in the industry, but we're not of it. Now, that might not make a whole lot of sense right now at this point, being brand new to what we're saying, but we're totally different in regards to what our business is really all about. We don't sell policies. Okay? We make a difference, just like what you saw in that presentation right there. And that's what we're going to talk about, is some of this, the difference that we make for about the next 20, 30 minutes, maybe at the most. So the bottom line, again, living benefits is a big deal. They say statistically, there's over 150 million policies in force in America. Now, hear what I said there again. 150 million policies in force in America. Less than 2% of them have living benefits. Is that a pretty big market? I think it is. Okay? And of those 150 million policies that are in force in America, less than 20% of them have an agent that represents them. So who's going to tell them about the options that are available to them, like living benefits? We are. So that's what I believe. That's why we're here. That's why we're presenting what we do. Because we believe, again, we're not out to make a sale, we're out to make a difference. And from there, we're going to go forward. Okay? You need to know, just as you can see right there, we don't give tax or legal advice. Did I miss one, Roy? No. Okay. So I want everybody to understand, we're not tax advisors. That's not our objective here. So, again, all the disclosure statements here, that's not our purpose. Our purpose is about what you see right here. Freedom. Big word as far as I'm concerned. Okay? Big Dad gonna be up there. Y'all see him out of the way, standing here? I'll kind of slide to this side, block their view. Okay? Anyways, it's about freedom. That's really what we're about. Our mission did. Okay, how's that? Back where I was? Right here work? Go back. Okay. I'll stand here. Here we go. Sorry about that. Crusade. Building the largest agency in the United States based upon these things right here. Crusade. You say crusade, what does that mean? Make a difference. That's really all it does. All about making a difference in people's lives. We're not a part of the norm. We're not the traditional story that's out there. We're about making preparations for things that are really important in your life, like living benefits. Mission. Show every American how to save, grow, and retire with some financial dignity. And here's the key. Punchline, what's underlined right there. All tax-free, with living benefits, financial freedom. To me, in my career, and I've been doing this for 40 years, I've been in this industry. Okay? And so for me, the income that's generated from what we do, the most important thing about it as far as I've been concerned, all these 40 years, has been strictly based upon the freedom that it provides. That I can live my life the way that I want to live it. In the sense I don't have to ask for permission to do anything. When do I have to get up? Where do I have to be? What time? Where? How long? How much? See, most people, 90+% of people in America are having to ask, can I get off? Can I take some time off? When can I take my vacation? How much can I make? What kind of home can I have? What kind of car can I drive? Can my kids go to private school or public school? If you still have to ask in life, I believe you probably haven't got to where you want to be yet. Does that make sense? Anybody agree with me about that?
Yeah.
If you still got to ask, you haven't got there. We offer freedom if you want it. Okay? In America, we believe the dream of America, the American dream, is under siege. Unemployment close to 10%. Underemployment is just as big now as unemployment. Okay? Underemployment. So many people today are hearing the statement, you're overqualified. Y'all heard that one before? You're overqualified. So you can't find work. And you settle for something that's far less of what your ambitions really are. Okay? Low savings, interest rates. Stock market volatility, real estate losses, retirement account losses, inflation fears, income tax increases are looming. Do y'all believe that, or am I the only one who believes that? Do y'all believe, again, possibility of taxes are going up? Do you think that's possible in America?
Yes.
We're going to talk more about that. Big Dad doesn't deal with what we do. Widespread uncertainty. See it every day. I like just to ask the question when I'm talking to people. With the state of the economy, whoever it is I'm talking to, how is that affecting you, Bob?
It's, well, right now in the industry that I work out of, it's pretty active, but it's an industry that does this.
Yes, sir. Roller coaster.
And this is what I'm trying to eliminate.
Right, and most people would as well.
This way,
Yeah.
and the way you do that is you depend on yourself with programs like this.
Thanks a bunch. Key question, again, if you just learn to ask people, how's the economy affecting you? Many people will tell you, just like Bob did there. Learn to ask, again, questions that lead to the things that we're all about, where we can talk about what we do. That's a good one. How's the economy affecting you? I love to use this quote and question right here because I just became a grandfather 9 months ago. I'm excited about that beyond what I can tell you, and that gives me just ambition and energy in what we're doing as much as it's ever been in my life to be able to create a legacy for my children's children in what we're doing. And we can do that here. So the question is, and I think about this every day, with that little guy coming into my life 9 months ago, will his life be better than his father or his grandparents with what the kids today face in America? What do y'all think? Is it as great, is the opportunity as great in America today as it was for us?
No.
I don't think so either. But we can make a difference in what we're doing if you want to. See, desire means a lot. But that's a key thing for me. What's the solution? Okay? Retirement income, we're still talking about retirement income running out, low returns and high fees on investments, people having the wrong type of insurance and investments, all these things, again, we address and deal with in what we do. So again, what's the solution? One of the problems that we deal with, 7 out of 10, and this is kind of, again, going back to this whole living benefits thing, which is where I start and everything I talk about, getting people to understand what kind of exposure that they have. And as we talked about a while ago, getting started with Jessica's story, this only matters if you need it. If you run into this kind of situation or somebody you care about, like I was just telling you in regards to my brother, okay? 7 out of 10 American population will suffer a critical or chronic illness such as heart attack, stroke, or cancer before the age of 65. We want to believe and we think, well, that might happen when I get old. Well, that's not the case. Okay? I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. The majority will survive, and many are financially crippled in the process of recovery. The big 3 dangers to you: heart attacks. About 1.2 million Americans suffer a heart attack every year. Look at these statistics now. My whole career in 40 years has been based upon third-party information, just like this right here. Don't take my word for it. This is what the pros are saying. American Cancer Society, heart disease and such, all done again by the Heart Association. These are their statistics. So again, we're just telling the story. We're just the messenger. And the question is, are you willing to share the message? If you are, and you can get particularly excited about it, some great things can happen financially for you and your family, if you want to, and the people that you impact, the lives that you touch. So again, stroke. 795,000 people here suffer a stroke, may end up with permanent disabilities. Oh, Bloom. Y'all met Bloom. As of yesterday, lost feeling in the side of his face. He left here, going to have a test done. I mean, it can happen to anybody. So we never know, but the key is, are we prepared in the event that it does? Cancer, 3.5 million new cases a year. Over 65% of the expenses are indirect and not covered by traditional insurance. 11 million people currently living with cancer. Is that a big deal?
Yes.
Dadgum right it is. Now, when we're talking about living benefits that these people could have had access to in the process of dealing with these things in their lives, do you think if we went and asked them, they'd say, that would have made a huge difference to me if I'd have had that option? But the majority of those people did not. Gang, we've got an answer, we've got a solution, and we can make a difference in regard to these things. There's over a 70% chance you'll suffer a critical illness by age 65. Medical issues contribute. Look at this one here. This is a statistic I use a lot that people have no clue about. Medical issues contribute to over 2/3 of all bankruptcies in America. Think about that. Harvard did that study. Again, we didn't come up with this, they did. In 2008, Harvard study found that approximately 80% had health insurance at the start of the bankrupting illness. So it wasn't, a lot of times people say, well, they had health insurance, they could have avoided that. No, most of them had it. The problem was this: they lost their income while they were sick and couldn't work. Like my brother, 18 months, no income. Big deal. Wasn't they didn't have health insurance, but they didn't have their income replaced. What if your life insurance that you got could also act as an income replacement for no more cost? Is that something, if you had an option to that you might want to choose? So we find out people with average intelligence and above love what we do. They can pick the big one, okay? Pick the one that gives you the most benefit for what you're paying. Statistics show critical illnesses are striking more Americans every year. An American is diagnosed with cancer every 9.3 seconds. And that's a staggering thing. Let me say this while we're right there at this particular point. You know, I'm sure you probably don't know this unless you've been around our business for a while and understand again what we do and the numbers and the statistics and all that kind of thing. You know, the average age of a person in America today that has a heart attack, stroke, or cancer for the first time, average age, guess what you think that might be for any new ones in here? Some of you, again, ones who've been around, you may know it. What would you think? The average age. Any ideas? Any thoughts?
It's 90.
40s.
42.
Because you know.
In 40s.
It is 42. Now, see, I was blown away.
We want
I
it to
was
be
blown
90.
away when I found that out. That wasn't too long ago. Okay, 42. Amazing. One of our friends, again, at the office that we've got over in the Galleria, and some of y'all met him last week, he was there, George Clinton. He was a marathon runner, one of the most in-shape guys. We again grew up in the business together. We've been friends, all of us have been friends over 30 years together. We were back with him at the time. He had his heart attack at 41. A marathon runner. As a matter of fact, he was running when he had his heart attack. He was living at the time, always been very successful and still is to this day, always been a high income earner. Okay? At that time was living in about a $350,000 to $400,000 home. Within 6 months, he was in a home that was condemned. You say, wow, why was that? He lost his income. And it took him a while to get healthy enough to get back out and do what it was that he was capable of doing. Now, he's back on top now, in a big way, has been for quite a while. But he had a period of time for about a year to a year and a half. He struggled and hurt a lot from the setback of just not being able to go out and do what it was that he did for a living. Majority of people, that's what they experience. Okay? And I want to say this too. We talked about bankruptcy a while ago. The majority of bankruptcies are due to medical circumstances. Average age, like we just said, that Deborah reminded us of, 42 years old, that go through this situation. Guess what the average age is of the people that file bankruptcy for the first time?
40 something.
43. 43. Isn't that interesting? Gang, that's what we're talking about. Okay? Problem. Most of the population retirement, $17 trillion. Now we're talking about qualified funds now. Most people that are saving money in America today, and that amount again is about $17 trillion, is in one of several, or one of the different vehicles that are mentioned right there. An IRA, we're all familiar with that, a 401k, or a 403b. And a large percentage of that money will be lost to fees and taxes. Okay? As a result, the majority are going into retirement financially stressed, and many will outlive their retirement income. Do y'all think that's possible in America?
Yes.
Every day. Every day come day. As a matter of fact, you can meet some of those folks. They'll greet you at Walmart.
Yep.
When you walk in there. Many of them retired several years ago and now have found out my retirement is not going to be able to support me like what I thought it was going to. Back to my question, how's the economy, Santiago, affecting you? Opens again doors to be able to talk about what we do and make a difference. Okay? What do most people say for retirement? We just talked about that again. IRAs, 401k, 403bs, called qualified plans that are fully taxed. Now let me ask this question to y'all. I always like to ask this when I'm dealing one-on-one with people. Do you have any idea, and again, the ones that have been involved in the business, you do, but most people, the average person out there, has really no clue when you ask them, what does qualified plan mean? When we talk about qualified funds, what does that mean? You want to get some crazy looks? They got no idea. See, that IRA you got, that 401k that you got, that might right now be a 201k. Maybe half of what it was. Okay? Or may end up being less than that. But the bottom line, what does qualified money mean? It means this. Okay? It means when you give it to the government to handle for you in a qualified account, it means down the road when you want what you think is your money, you've got to qualify to get it back.
Yeah.
That's right. How soon do you want to get into it? Let me tell you something. I love to use this, and I appreciate your response. Okay? I love to use this when I'm sitting with someone that's got one of these qualified accounts, and there's $17 trillion in America that's in those kind of accounts. Here's how they work. Deborah, they explain it to you like this when you set that account up. Here's how it works. Let's see how many of us in here want to sign up. Okay? Now, there's $17 trillion in America that are in accounts that work just like this. You put up all the money, Bob. You put it all up. Okay? You take all the risk. All right? And you've got a partner. Now, I don't know if you knew that. Now, when they set this up, did they explain to you that you've got a partner on this account? The people say, I'm just telling you, they're going to look at you like, you're crazy. What do you mean I got a partner? Yeah, oh yeah, it's why, again, part of the qualification. You've got a partner, and it's your Uncle Sam. It's the IRS. How's that make you feel? Okay? And again, here's how it works. Let me explain the ground rules, and let's see whether or not, first of all, if you were aware of that, and now that you are, would you have made the same decision that you made years ago to get into that kind of a plan? Again, you got a partner, IRS, or the government, your rich uncle, or really your broke uncle. Okay? Okay, bottom is your partner. Here's the rules. Bob, you put up all the money, and you take all the risk. Your partner that you've got, he's going to make all the rules on this investment.
Yeah,
okay?
that's right.
Here's the punchline, brother. Here's the real punchline on the deal. Your partner that you got is almost $18 trillion in debt. Think about that. You're in contract with a partner that's $18 trillion in debt. He makes all the rules on how you can use that money, if you get to use it at all. And that being the case, who do you think the rules are going to be made in favor of? Him or you? How does that make you feel? Was it explained to you like that? No. Would you do it all over again, based on what you know now? Yeah, let me tell you something. You go through that little scenario right there, people, they're already nervous and unsettled. But when you explain it to them like that, what qualified money means, and how it really works, now they're wanting to know, and you say, I can get out of it? How can I do that? I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to tell you. Okay? Just learning some things to share with people that stir their heart. So they already know a lot of this stuff, and they don't really want to believe it. But see, it's got to get from here to here. And that's our responsibility to help make that happen, by being able to tell the story that they can relate to. Because see, I tell folks all the time, you're not going to hear this, what I'm telling you, from your typical insurance agent, stockbroker, CPA, attorney, banker. You're not going to hear this stuff from them, okay? We're think out of the box kind of people. And if this makes sense to you, Richard, then I can show you how to implement some of these things if you want to, if it fits for you. You may not like it, but what Deborah and I are concerned about, maybe there's somebody you know this would be just right for. You know anybody, again, that this would work for. Gang, that's our business. It's a ministry as far as I'm concerned. And I'm passionate about it, as you can see. This is not some just a play deal, another dadgum deal. Let me talk to you and show you mine, what we can do compared to. This is a whole different ball game. And so again, do what we can do to help people understand. Okay, retirement roadblocks. Most consumers do not understand. It's 4 simple roadblocks. Our responsibility, again, to help them understand. Number 1, great old procrastination. I'm going to get around to it, just not today. Okay? But I'm going to get around to it. Right? Okay, number 2, risk. Risk. Don't even like the word. Okay? And most people don't either when they understand it. Fees. This is probably the most misunderstood thing completely that's out there. So they say the average fee that's paid on a 401k in America today, 2.9%. Average. Okay? And of course taxes. We know where that's at and what that's all about. So, if you're taking a few notes there you go. That's the roadblock, that's the stumbling block, that's why most people fail right there. First of all, most of them never get started, procrastinate about it. Then the fact that what they do get started with, tremendous risk and fees they're going to pay, and ultimately, again, taxes are looming and waiting on them. You know something else I found out that blows me away in doing this deal? And I challenge you again to use it when you're talking to people. If you're talking to someone that's got a retirement account like a 401k, I always love to ask the question, fantastic, you've been saving some money. How much do you think you have in there? So I like to say, how much do you think you have in there? I know how much I got. Really? How much you have? I got $1 million. I've got $500,000. I got $750,000. Really? So I'll say that, really? Is that before taxes or after? And they go, huh? Is that before the fees or after the fees? Huh? See, based on statistics and what they say, between fees and taxes, you can expect that to erode about 40 to 50% of your account value that you thought you had. Now how do you feel? That straightens them up real quick. Now there's some things you can do about that if you want to. Would you like for me to go further? See, again, we have a message. The question is, are we willing to share it? Do you know your number to retirement? I always love to use this one again. This particularly speaks again to the procrastinators. 20 years of monthly retirement income from age 66 to 85 at an 8% assumed rate. Depending on how much income that you want at that age, 3,000, 5,000, 7,000, I'm going to run it on down. Okay? It looks like this. If you're young, real young, okay, 20 years old, you can have $5,000 a month based upon that scenario that right there at the top for 20 years at an 8% assumed rate from 66 to 85, and you'll start saving $113 a month. Now you look at that and go, well, that's not that big a deal. The question is, are you 20? Okay? That's the question. Are you 20? It's not that big a deal if you're 20.
I tried to change ages with him, he wouldn't do it, so, you know.
Yeah.
Oh well, okay.
Smart boy.
See, the problem is at 20, you're thinking, man, I don't need to be concerned about that retirement. I'm just getting started. Man, I'm young, I'm ready to go, I got dreams, I got things I want to do. I want to buy a new car, I want to get married, I want to give my wife, a ring, and I don't mean an onion ring, okay? I want to give her a ring, that kind of a deal. I got money to spend, I got time for dadgum retirement, so I'm going to wait a little bit. Procrastination, okay? Well, then wait till 30. And see, now if you're at 30, now it's 260. You go, still, that's not that big a deal, 260, but you know what? Dadgum at 30 years old, I finally got married. Okay? I gave her that ring. Now we've got to buy a house. And we want a good one. We don't want a condemned one. We want a good one. So right now I'm buying a house. And I want to start a business. I really would like to be in business for myself, so I really don't have a lot of time right now or money to contribute towards retirement. I'll get to that later. Bottom line, game, you all get the gist here. At 40, it's $628 bucks. What was at 20, $113. If we wait till we're 50, look at that one. $1,700 for the same retirement that we could have had if we'd have started at 20 for $100 bucks. But what about if you're 60, like I am? Okay? What about that? $8,000 a month to accomplish the same thing. So I mean, this is where people are. See, I refer to what I do and what we do as a team and a group. I'm a coach. I come from a sports background. He and I grew up in it together. Okay? So I'm a competitive guy. I love to compete. I love to win. I love to make a difference. I believe, again, that God put us here for a reason and a purpose, and it wasn't just to suck air. Okay? I think there's a reason and a purpose that we're here and why He wants to use it. So again, I want to coach people. And I'll ask this one of the questions that I ask when I'm dealing with a new client. Will you give me permission to coach you? To help stretch you? To help get you to where it is you want to go financially in your life? Will you allow me to do it? Will you give me permission to do that? And see, I've gone back with people and said, now remember now, Deborah, you told me 15 years ago when we started, you said you gave me permission to coach you. And I always tell the clients that I deal with, particularly in the start, I've never had a client yet. Ever. And all the ones I've dealt with in 40 years, I've never had one of them yet say to me, Lindsay, you talked me into saving too much money. I've had many that have told me, I wish you'd got me to save more. I said, I tried. But you told me not today.
Yeah.
Not today. I will tomorrow, but not today. Let me tell you, it works like that every time. Never had one told me I saved too much. I've had many that come back to me and said, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for getting me out of the market. Thank you for getting me out of the risk and all that kind of stuff. But I've never had one say, you know what, it taught me into saving too much money. Many have said, I wish I'd have done more. Okay? Here's the ugly truth about 401ks. Okay? I mean, people thinking, we hear that all the time, talking about 401ks, and it's on the news, and how's your 401k? The market's up and down, and feel good about your 401k, feel bad about your 401k. Well, here's the real truth, the ugly truth, Time Magazine says about a 401k. It says this, okay? It's a lousy product.
It's a 201k.
Now, I didn't say that. Time Magazine did. But I'm going to tell you, I'm a voice crying in the wilderness. You might want to pay some attention to what they're saying. This is a little bit of a warning, a forewarning about where you are and about what you might want to consider doing. A financial flop, a rotten repository for our retirement reserves. Okay? 4 phases of retirement. Right at the top. Contribution phase, accumulation phase, withdrawal phase, and transfer. That's the phases we take people through in regards to retirement. Again, IRAs, 401ks, 403bs are the common place most people put their retirement dollars, particularly in qualified plans. Again, all of these are tax deductible, tax deferred rather, put money in there and deductible. But when it comes time for the real thing to be concerned about, when we start withdrawing and transferring, taxable. At the point that we really want to use it, that's when they put it to us. How many of y'all have heard the term before, dealing with taxes? You have the option. You can pay tax on the seed, or you can pay tax on the harvest.
I do that all the time.
Okay? We're going to talk about that in a second. Tax-free alternative, which is what we do, not deductible when you put it in. Tax deferred as it grows and accumulates. You're not paying taxes on it, but the key to what we're doing, what's it say there? When it comes time to withdraw and transfer, what's it say?
It's free benefits.
Let me ask you a question. Does tax-free beat tax deferred? Every time. Every time. Tax-free wins. And see, people understand that. Once they understand, they have a choice. Okay? Would you rather pay, here we go, the point I was trying to set in your mind. Would you rather pay taxes now on the seed that you're going to plant, or do you want to wait and pay taxes later on the harvest that it produces? This is a powerful illustration right here. I use this a lot. Okay, a lot. To set the course of where I'm going. Getting people to think of it again as a seed versus the harvest. See what 401ks and qualified money does and IRAs and all that kind of thing. What we're doing with those, gang, we're creating a tax time bomb for ourselves. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We're digging ourselves a financial hole that's very difficult to get out of in many cases. So if you had the choice of paying tax on the seed and could enjoy the harvest tax-free, would it make sense to do that if you could? We can show folks how to do that. And it's legal. By tax code. Section 72. We can do that. Amazing. Love to use this little question here, an illustration. Again, if you want to go through it, again, it's a little wordy there, but the bottom line is it just shows over the course of time, from 1929, the time again of the Great Depression, up into 2014, really how the tax rate has been affected by the gross domestic product in America, all that kind of stuff, how it's gone up and down and that kind of deal. It says historically, tax rates spike to mirror government spending. Is government spending pretty high in America today, you think? Highest it's ever been. And getting higher. Okay, big government. And that affects big time our whole tax situation. So the question is this. Do you think taxes are going up in the future, or do you think they're going to go down? Are you sure about that?
Only way we can.
Do you really believe that?
Absolutely.
So I do too. And you know what? I've asked that question over the years. I can't tell you how many times. As many times as I've asked the question to a client, how much of what you've got can you afford to lose? Okay? And I get the same answer every time on that one, and I get the same answer on this one every time when you ask, do you think taxes are going up or down? Guess what they all say?
Yes.
Up. That's the only way we can come close, and it doesn't even work with it going up to support where we are in America today. With all the programs we've got, all the social things that are out there again. I mean, they're saying now statistically that over half the people in America today are on some kind of a government subsidy.
Yep.
Over half the people. And then the other half that do pay tax, again, it should be don't pay taxes. So the bottom line is we've got a real mess. But the bottom, would everybody agree that taxes are probably going to go up?
Yeah.
So we can go forward, right? Y'all with me?
Yeah.
So what's the solution?
Us.
We believe, exactly. Thank you, Richard. Freedom Equity Group. A specially designed life policy to build your account tax-free with no market risk for college funding, personal use, retirement income, and estate preservation. The great thing about what we do, the retirement account, I refer to it all the time as a self-directed retirement account. It's your account, you make the rules, and you use it as you choose to because you control it versus somebody else, specifically the government. So if that makes sense, We have that option. We can show you how to do those things. Index Universal Life, a retirement solution. Overcome the effects of market risk. Indexing versus directly in the market. Roy, you're always good at this. If you would, just kind of go through that real quick. Let me catch my breath.
You've probably heard us refer to this green line, red line, blue line, depends on the graph you're looking at. But if you're looking at that green line, that is a solution we call indexing. And what that is, we've all heard of Standard & Poor's index, this index, that index. There's actually was a white paper, a research study done of all the mutual funds, all the big money managers. We have this as a resource in one of our back offices. The conclusion was, after all this research and study, that over a time period, 90% of the time, just investing in an index, not with money manager trying to beat the market, but just the index, like an S&P index fund, will beat all the money managers 90% of the time. That's what we use as a benchmark for our IUL or the insurance product that we're talking about. That graph shows you, real quick, shows you when you take a look at that green line, that's our type of index product. And you'll notice, we'll notice two things here. The red represents the S&P index. So, let's say starting out, we're not trying to compete and say you're going to make more money or do better when the market's going up. Okay? To get protection and to insure your accounts, there is a cost. Okay? When you understand the mechanism that insurance companies use, I won't get into the details, but they use options as a big company, and this is the way they accomplish this. But starting off, you see the red lines going up. The markets, this was in 1998 up to the year 2000. You had $136,000 if you invested $100 grand. The green line, say, represents our index product, is 125. You say, well, I'm better off over here. Right now you are. But what happened? In 2000, over 2 years, market went down over 50 to 60%, depending on what people were invested in. Guess what? The person that had the index account that we represent did not lose a penny. People that had money in the market lost close to half, if not more, of the value of their account. Now, coming from the security side, which we were securities licensed and so in marketing mutual funds with A.O. Williams, you're taught you don't lose any money if you don't sell, right? We've all heard that. You call your broker, hang tight, don't worry, it's going to come back, right? Well, guess what? Once you have a loss, you never recover that loss. Because you've lost. Because see, when the market comes back up, where are you starting from?
Yeah.
From down here, right? For an example, now I use this as an example. If you have $100,000 and you lose, and it's in the market, and you lose 50%, how much do you have?
50.
It's down to 50,000. What happens if you've lost 50 and now the market comes up 50? What happens? You've gotten back to even, right?
75,000.
Wrong. That's what we think.
What is the time? You're right, Bob. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's the fallacy. If you're down 50%, you're getting 100% at this low level. So if you've got $50,000 and it goes up 50%, you're at 75.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, if you have the ability to not take a loss, even if you don't have a gain, and I know Lindsay's done this and we have with clients, if I could just have what I had, even if I could just get back to where I was, even if I didn't make any income over the last 2 years, I could just have what I had. Well, guess what? We have that ability with the indexing in our products. So as you can see, every time there's a dip, you have a straight line, you have zero return. People are ecstatic, like Lindsay said, no return. Great, because their friends are down here. So, bottom line, going through all these roller coasters up and down, at the end of the day, you've got 191,000 versus 137. Sleep at night, peace of mind, heart attack, you better have a critical illness policy, right?
Yeah.
Heart attack, feeling better? Oh, another one. You know, do you really have a heart attack, a stroke? So the bottom line, would you rather have the green one or the red one?
Green one.
And you still have a guaranteed floor.
Hmm?
And you still have a guaranteed floor.
That's correct.
Exactly. Now, here's the kicker. Most people have their, this in here in their retirement account, right? In the red.
Yeah.
So let's say you've made it all the way to retirement, and now you've got 137,000 in your 401k.
Taxes.
Now you got to pay taxes on it. We've got, we don't go over it tonight, but in training, we've got actual statistics and historicals from, I think it's Vanguard, that shows historical, actual performances and how that stacks up against the indexing at 13, 14%.
Wow.
It beats it, and we can show why. Anyway, that's that.
Great job, appreciate
Good
it.
job.
And this right here, and again, I'm gonna cut this a little bit short here, hit some high points very quickly, because again, time's kind of getting on us. Do you have a question on
Just a
it?
quick comment. Great presentation, went into good detail. I'm not trying to complicate it, but I've actually had clients. I had one client had 135,000 IRA. He went down to 80 in 2008, and now he's back up to about 120. So he very smugly looked at me and said, "Well, I'm almost back where I'm going." I said, "That's right, you're almost back." I said, "You know one thing you've lost more valuable money?" He said, "What?" Time.
Absolutely.
You'll never get it back.
Don't get it back.
And he looked at me with that deer in the headlight look, and it just, because you got to sort of function
Yes,
sometimes to make wake up.
I refer to that as a shock effect. I mean, literally, gang, because what Bob just said is the truth. You know, time, most precious resource that we have, and when it's gone, it's not coming back. It isn't coming back. So to be able to protect, I tell folks all the time, we're talking about retirement accounts and such. Santiago, how many years do you have in that retirement account? Well, I've got 21 years in it. I've got 27 years. I've got 35 years. If you lose that money, can you make back up that 30 years, the 35 years? Unless you have enough time to, you can't. So being able to avoid that risk factor makes a huge difference in terms of ultimately what the accumulation is going to be in your retirement account. Everybody get that? See that? So we ask the question a lot again. If you had a choice, which would you rather be on, the red line or the green line?
Green line.
Those with average intelligence and above, always choose. Pick the big one, okay? If I was going to write you a check tonight, you want me to write for 191,000 or for 127 or 37, whatever it says, 127.
Minus 30% taxes.
Exactly. Gang, again, we got a story nobody else is telling. We're think out of the box kind of people. So we're making a presentation to people that are not here and anywhere else. That gives us a tremendous edge in what we're doing. If you have the courage to share it. That's the question. So there won't be a one of us, not a one of us in this room that leaves here tonight that doesn't know to some degree or another what to say in terms of what it is that we do, whether it be living benefits or whether it be tax-free income. Every one of us that's been here tonight can say one of those two things. The question is, do we have the courage to say it?
That's exactly right.
See, most of us again will say, nothing. Why? If we really are compelled that this makes a difference, why would we want to be able to share this with any and everybody we know? And you know what? Get paid to do it. Well, think about it, gang. Index Universal Life. Stop thinking, here, this is powerful right here. I like to use this a lot. You see everything again from what we talked about earlier. It's about how we think. Okay, it's about how we think. Ultimately, who we are is what we think. And what our convictions are about life and all that kind of thing. It says right here, stop thinking of life insurance as an expense. See, the attitude for most people, until they get it, what we're really talking about here, they may be kind of going along with you and they're thinking, what's the least amount of money I can put into this thing? Okay?
Right.
And a lot of times they'll ask you that. Well, what's the least amount I can put in? 200 or 300 or whatever. What's the least amount? If you really get it and you really understand what we're talking about and the light bulb goes off, the question becomes, how much can I put into that thing?
Right.
So that's when you really understand. That's when your client finally gets that, ball game's over with. Because now they're saying again, that how much can I qualify for? How much can I put in? So it says start thinking of it as a portfolio asset, just like hard assets. Real estate, stocks, bonds, all of that. It's better than all of that because, as Roy illustrated and showed you, it's tax-free, gang. Tax-free, remember, beats tax-deferred how often?
All the time.
Every time. Every dadgum time. And that's our message. Tale of two brothers. Our story begins with two brothers. I'm going to run through this fairly quickly because we got all this stuff available on our website and that kind of deal. And I know the clock's on us. And again, I don't want you to keep you here too late. Bottom line, story of two brothers, age 35. Both are saving $600 a month. Both earn 8% interest for the same period of time on their money. Okay? They're in two separate accounts. Brother A believes the old way, save for retirement in qualified accounts, IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, receive tax deductions, which again is a little trap to get you into that deal, tax deduction and pay taxes later. Now we're back again. I want you to think, because I want you to put this on the sticky side of your brain, okay? You want to pay tax on the seed or the harvest?
Seeds.
Sorry. You remember back, we were in Union Bankers when IRS came out.
Yep.
You remember what the deal was about this is the tax deduction today while you're younger because your taxes will be less when you get older.
Yeah,
right.
That's what they sold.
That was the trick.
We were there when they came about.
That's right.
And that's exactly what they told
It's a
us.
great lie.
Yeah, the great lie. Gang, that's the system we're caught up in. A system of deceit. It is. Just like this tax deduction thing. Again, it's like the drug lord or the pusher. It says, just try it. See whether or not you like it. And all of a sudden, you're hooked on it. You're caught in it. Whatever it is. Same thing here. Just take a little tax deduction. Let's get you to go, wow, that's a fantastic deal. You're creating your own tax time bomb that's going to blow up on you at some point in time. Why would you want to do that if you didn't have to? Back again to where we are in our story here. Brother A believes in the old traditional way. He believes, I'll pay tax on the harvest. Okay? Brother B says, I don't want to pay taxes at all. That's what he's doing. So we'll go through the illustration. Believes in the new way. Save an index universal life and receive tax-free income later. I don't want to pay any taxes. Neither do I. Other than what I actually owe. I want to do my part, but I don't want to do any more than that. How about y'all? See, most folks, when presented the facts, can make the right choice. We just need to understand what it is we're up against. Brother A, $6,500 contribution to a 401k. He has a $1,000 match by his employer. So we're running this a lot of time. Well, my employer matches 3% or 5% or whatever. We have illustration software and what we call the 401k killer, destroyer, that shows even with matches, because we're dealing with tax-free dollars, how much difference that makes. So coming to understand how to be able to present that is unbelievable. But anyway, $1,000 match. He's got term insurance that he's carrying as well. At his age, he's paying $680 a year for that produces $600,000 of coverage for 30 years. Everybody see that? That's what he's getting for the money he's putting up. Brother B, he has zero money that's going into a qualified account. So he has, as well, no match. Okay, so right there you look at that and go, man, he's already behind the 8 ball. He's already losing. Well, let's see. He puts $7,200 a year in premium to his IUL. It produces $600,000 of indexed universal life. Okay, $600,000. Who made the right decision? Well, based on looking at that right there, it looks like Brother A is ahead of the game, ahead of the curve. Results after 30 years. Because again, here's the results. Let's see now what happened. Brother A has $858,000 that's accumulated now over that period of time in his 401k. Because of the fact that he's 30 years now out, he's got zero term insurance. If he goes the Primerica way. Right? He's got zero term insurance now, and he's 60 years old or whatever, 60 years old, and if he was going to get some insurance, it cost him a lot of money, all right? He's had $65,000 of cumulative tax deductions over that time period. You go, wow, that's pretty good, I guess. So he has a total account value of $858,000 in savings that he can start drawing income from. Not too bad, right? Let's compare to Brother B. Brother B has $709,000 in the cash value of his self-directed retirement account. So when you look at that, you go, well, who wins? Looks like Brother A, doesn't it? Well, let's find out how that ends up. Brother B has $864,000 death benefits in his self-directed account. Something happens to him, he comes up missing, his family gets $864,000. Right here, the family gets how much?
Nothing.
Zero.
They get 858 minus.
Well, yeah, what's in the account?
Minus taxes.
Minus taxes. That's right. But as far as the death benefit, zero versus $864,000. Which one would you rather have? Okay? He's had zero tax deductions over that time period and a total account value of $709,000. So we look at that and we go, well, I guess that's pretty good, but it's not as good as Brother A so far, right? Okay? Let's see what happens. Again, it's not how much that we have that counts, it's how much we keep or how much we can get to. Okay? That's the key. Bottom line is this. Brother B, $97,000 annual income for life. However old he gets, he's got $97,000 of income that's coming in. Tax-free. That he keeps. Yeah, 97,000 tax-free loans come out of that policy every year. Zero tax. If Brother B died at age 100, listen to this. Put the numbers in now. This is the accumulation of all of this. At age 100, he would have received, look at this, $3.3 million over that time period in income that he's taken from that contract. And if he dies at 100, he leaves $3 million, both $3 million in death benefit to his family if he passes, comes up missing, and both of what he leaves, what he draws and what he leaves to his family is tax-free. Is that a pretty good deal? I think so. Let's compare it to Brother A. He's got $97,000, same income, but he's got to access, and here's the big punchline here in this deal. For him to get the same amount of money Brother B gets, he's got to withdraw $129,000 from his account to equal the same $97,000 because he's got to pay taxes.
That's only 25%.
That's a 25% tax bracket. Y'all think taxes are going up or down? So the 25% now in the future is going to be substantially more. So we're using, again, conservative numbers here. So that's $32,000 he's got to pay in taxes. Here's the bottom line, gang. This is where the rubber really meets the road. In 9 years, at age 74, old Brother A, that does it the traditional way, that wants to pay tax on the harvest, he's out of money. He's broke. Broke. Brother B, again, $3 million by age 100 that he's drawn from the same contribution that they both made in the account, and he has a $3 million death benefit as well that goes to his family in the event something happens to him and it's all tax-free. The question again is this one, gang. Like we asked a while ago, if you're investing money, you want to be on the red line or the green line. Everybody in here said green. If you have a choice based on this scenario right here, and we do, you want to be Brother A or Brother B? Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Any question about it? Could I talk you out of it?
No.
Yeah, this is what we do. This is what we do. Okay? We make a difference. See, this is not selling. It really isn't.
No.
It's about presenting information that people need to hear. It's an educational process. That's right. Thank you. Okay, that's what we do. Now, I could go on, and I'm not going to. Okay, again, the bottom line is this. We're going to end it right here and we'll turn it back over to Deborah. We've made our point. We have a lot more information to support everything we do. We could get in again to income that can be made in what we're doing. It's phenomenal. It's off the chart. We've got the best compensation plan that's out there, bar none. Ask Santiago here in about a week or so. He's a pro in the business. He understands the business. Ask him. He's seen a few comp plans. Ask him in a couple of weeks which one he thinks is the best compensation out of what he's seen once he gets a really good handle on what our deal is about. So we have generational overrides in what we do that are paid to infinity. You know where infinity is? What infinity means? That's just north of Dallas. It means forever. Okay?
Or Willis.
Nobody, that's right, Willis. That's why I thought I was coming to infinity today trying to get to here. And then come traffic. Gang, again, what I'm saying here is we've got a comp plan nobody else has out there. And that's the biggest point right there. Again, your organization can't outgrow you. That's a big deal. Most of them out there, Santiago and I were talking about that a while ago before we got started. That's the problem that's going on with a lot of the different marketing companies out there. You get to a certain point and they cut you off. They either redirect your people or they start cutting your income. We look for reasons here, and Ron Bloomington, he's a giver. This company's about, again, the more successful people that they develop, the more successful FEG is going to become. That's what we're about. We have a philosophy in what we do. To get what we want out of life is directly proportionate to the number of people that we help get what they want. See, I believe God's got life wired like that. It's all about giving to receiving. Okay? It's a reaping and sowing. It's a sowing and reaping process, if you will. So the bottom line is this. When we talk about insurance, life insurance, and the things we've talked about here for about the last 45 minutes to an hour, life insurance, people have life insurance needs, they've got disability needs to protect income. If they get sick, like we talk about, the major thing there is losing their income. If you can protect your life, disability to protect your income, critical illness, chronic illness if you get sick, if all this could be encompassed into one plan and give you a tax-free retirement on top of that, would that work for you and most people?
Yes.
I go back to what I said, and I'm going to take my seat and turn it over to Deborah. None of us here tonight, with what we've heard and the little bit that you may say, man, this is kind of confusing, I saw a lot of things that made sense, I don't have it down yet, and all that kind of thing. But when you do get it, and it comes pretty quickly, if you spend some time with it, I encourage people to become a student of what we do. As Roy said a while ago, that we can educate others. And we get compensated extremely well to do that. So if you'll become a student about what we do and learn some of these things. And as I started, when I said, be willing to learn some things and then share with others what you've learned, it'll change your life and that in your family financially for generations. That's what we're building. That's what we're doing here. And so I say again, before I take my seat, turn it back over to Deborah. Not a one of us, when we leave here tonight, don't know something about what we could say to somebody else that could make a difference. The question is, do any of us in here have the courage to do it? If we do, it's a life-changing thing. Okay? We've got an evaluation form that Deborah's going to take control of in just a second. We want to give it to everyone in here. We want an evaluation about just the content. We really do appreciate y'all's input here. If you don't like it, if you think it's non-pertinent, or say so. Because we want to have an evaluation, because we're going to continue to do these on an ongoing basis. Like Deborah said, every Tuesday night here, it will be next week, 7 o'clock here. And on Thursday night, we're in Houston at the Galleria area. You ladies have been over there. Some of y'all have been over there. If you've got people in that sector of town, I encourage you to invite them over there. We will soon, ladies, once we have this up and going, we'll have the same thing going in the Woodlands. We'll be doing this up there and on the west side of town. We're going to cover and encompass the Houston area. We're on a mission.